Well, I welcome everyone to episode 4 of season 2 of SteelTalk. We're excited, or privileged really, to have an international guest speaker today, Paul Akers. Paul's a passionate entrepreneur and business person, and we're excited for what Paul can educate us on today and what practical tips he can share with us. But before we jump in, as normal, there's going to be lots of questions in the audience today, so be sure to put them into the Q&A box or the chat box, and Paul's pretty happy to answer these on the run as we go through today's call. Paul's a lean man, doesn't want to keep everyone waiting, so he's probably happy to get them answered. And just a bit more about SteelCorp. We're a family-owned company. We love lean. We're still a long way to go, but we're excited about the journey. And I'm your host today, and excited to have you with us. As per previous episodes, we do like to release a few goodies to a few lucky attendees. I can hear Paul laughing there in the background, but I'm not sure if this fits up with your Ferrari eating, Paul, but a few beers. But we have got some SteelCorp merch we like to hand out to 2 lucky attendees today. So, and normally they go to people that ask good questions. So we'll keep an eye on the Q&A box to make sure we get 2 happy winners to take those.
You guys are great. I would drink one of those. Don't worry about it. I would drink one. That looks great.
We'll keep them in the fridge when you come to Australia next time, Paul. Or maybe we can get some in transit.
Good.
So I know everyone's here for you, Paul. So I'm going to hand over to you. And can you give us a bit of an introduction around who you are, your background, and what you're passionate about? Go for it, Paul.
Sure. So first of all, I've been to Australia countless times. I love Australia. I've been all over the country. Even climbed Ayers Rocks. I ran up Ayers Rocks, if you can believe that. I'm a 2-time Ironman. So I when I was training for an Ironman, I actually ran up that thing by myself. But anyways, I love Australia. I've been there many times. So a little bit about myself is I'm a pretty simple guy. I wasn't a very good student in high school or in college, really struggled. Things were difficult for me. I had ADD, ADHD, I had every disease you could know, but I couldn't focus and everything. And I graduated from college, got a job as a teacher, and I did that for a while, started my own general contracting company. Right when I got out of high school, though, I should say, I worked for Bob Taylor Guitars for 2 years. It changed my life. I learned how to be an innovator working for Bob Taylor. Bob Taylor is still a good friend of mine to this day. I talk to him regularly. So I started my own contracting company, and I developed a product called the Fast Cap, a peel and stick cover cap. It's sold widely throughout Australia, along with all my other products. And that product took off, and now today we have 800 products on the market. We're in 40 countries. We're about a $40 million company. We're not too big a company, but we're a decent sized company. Started all in my garage, just a really simple guy. Didn't go to MIT, didn't go to Harvard, didn't get an MBA, didn't do any of that stuff. Just kind of worked out business on my own. But the important part of the story and who I am and why I'm here talking to you today is 3 years into building my company, Fast Cap, the Japanese walked into my company because I was having a few problems with managing inventory. And I asked them, can you help me? And they looked around and they said, well, basically, Paul, and at this point, mind you, I was making $1 million a year. I'd won Business Startup of the Year, Business Executive of the Year. I'd won every awards. People were coming from my company. The most common question I was asked was, when can I invest in your company? When are you going to go public? And the Japanese delivered a message to me saying, basically, you're clueless and you don't know what you're doing. You don't know how to manufacture. So that's who I am. And I started my lean journey about 20 years ago. And I went to Japan and I watched what the Japanese were doing. I went to Toyota, I went to Lexus, and I realized indeed I did have my head up my derriere. I didn't know what I was doing. And I came back and started practicing lean, failed miserably because I tried to approach it very technically, went back after 5 years to Japan again. And all of a sudden I had an epiphany, a Centauri moment, to put it in Japanese vernacular. And I realized what the Japanese were doing. And what they were doing was very simple. They were doing 2 things, and it changed and rocked my life. And that's why I'm talking to you today. And I wrote a book about it. They, number one, were identifying waste in all their operations and processes, from grabbing a nut and bolt in one container and walking 2 steps and putting it on a car in another location. They identified the 8 wastes, and they were constantly eliminating those wastes through small little incremental improvements with their entire organization throughout Toyota, throughout Lexus. Everybody was working together in total participation to eliminate and make small improvements. That was the first thing they were doing. And I didn't realize it was that simple. I thought it had to be a great, big, powerful improvement, something that I had the MIT guys come in and the Harvard graduates come in and the analysts come in and statistical analysis come in and all the other nonsense and all the mapping. And I realized that's not what they were doing. They were just making little improvements, and they were massive amounts of them. The second thing they were doing was very interesting, is they were developing their people. They spent an enormous amount of time training and teaching their people to think differently than most companies think. And that's really my story. And so I started doing that 5 years after I started my lean journey. I wrote a book about that called 2 Second Lean. And that book has taken off, and it's in 19 languages now. It's printed around the world, and there are tens of thousands of companies around the world that are doing it, from a simple little carpenter, because I'm just a carpenter. I happen to have a degree, but I didn't do well in college. And it works because it's simple. So I'm a very simple guy, and I'm here to hopefully help you in some way on your lean journey. Does that help, Josh? Is that a background good enough?
Yeah, that's a perfect wrap up. And when you got that message from the Japanese in your factory, how did you take that? Like, was that a kick in the guts, or how did you accept that?
Well, you want to know what I first thought? I'll tell you, I'm going to be very honest with you, be brutally, and I know because you're Australian, you can handle this stuff. You know, I thought, you dumb shit. I mean, I make $1 million a year. You probably, what are you making, $80,000 a year? And you have the guts to tell me that I don't know what I'm doing. You know, that ran through my brain, honestly, you know. But instead, I just kind of stood back and said, okay, what do I need to learn? But this is the real issue, Josh. And this is why it really took root. Because then they told me I need to learn Kaizen, the Toyota production system, and lean manufacturing, none of which I'd ever heard of before. And I said, okay, well, how do I learn it? And said, well, let us work with you a little bit on some of your operations, and we'll kind of show you. Now, remember what they just said. We will show you. We will not teach you. We will show you what we're talking about. They went into my primary production areas, and they took processes in 1 week by revamping the way I did things. And I was an expert. I was trained by Bob Taylor. I knew what the hell I was doing. I'd won all the awards. I was making lots of money. My place looked beautiful. Everything was great. They went in, and in 1 week took my processes, my primary processes that were taking 45 minutes to 5 minutes. At that point, I knew I had my head up my rear end, and I didn't know what I was doing. And I surrendered, and I said, there's a lot I need to learn here, and I'm going to learn it because this is tectonic. This is groundbreaking. And so that's initially a little defensive, but then I realized I really didn't know what I was doing. And to this day, I still don't know what I'm doing.
That's massive. And what I love about the videos you've got on your website, Paul, and you've got thousands of them, is when you are improving something, you don't stop short. You know, you might redo it 10 times, 20 times, 30 times. And that's probably testament to your 20-year lean journey, is you never arrive, do you? You're always improving.
Never. And it's fun. It's so much fun. I love seeing the stupid things, the improvements I made yesterday that didn't really work very well, but they work better than what I had in place. And then I make another improvement and I learn. And so really what the key to this whole thing is, Josh, and everyone's who's listening, and this is what Toyota is doing, and this is what's so interesting and most people miss. They're creating world-class problem solvers. It doesn't matter that my implementation of an improvement works perfectly. What matters is that I learn what works and what doesn't work, so that the next time I can apply that knowledge, that learning, that development to the next improvement, and it has a compounding effect. It has an exponential effect on your effectiveness to solve problems and deliver value to your customer. So it's like the greatest thing in the whole world.
Yeah, that's a ripper. And it comes back to your subtitle on your book, How to Grow People. So that probably leads into the next slide.
Yeah, it's what it's all about.
Well, I'm an employer or an employee. I might be a stay-at-home dad or a student. Where does 2 Second Lean start?
Well, for me, effectively, it started in my bathroom, because I went to Japan that second trip. years later, and I visited a company called Hawks, and they took me into the bathroom and they made me clean their bathroom. And I noticed their bathroom was really, really clean. And the president was in there clean, and everybody was in there clean, and everything looked perfect. And, they had 100 employees, and there was no piss on the toilet ring. Everything was perfect. Everything was just really nice. And I realized that this bathroom environment was like really, really important. So I went home and I tried to explain to my people that, we got to make all these improvements. They didn't quite get it. So I said, okay, let's take our bathroom, which was pretty clean already, but it wasn't well laid out in terms of how easy it was to clean it or find supplies and resources. We had cabinet doors, you had to look behind and find and dig and all the crap that most people have. And I said, okay, let's put a rolling steel rack in there. You can watch my video. It's online. Just go Lean Bathroom, Paul Akers, you'll see it. And I labeled everything, and I worked with all my employees, and we put everything in order in the sequence that we needed. We had a perfect bucket, and it was labeled, and the broom and the mop, and everything was there and easy to do. And then we made an 8-step process on how to clean the bathroom. And the bathroom was just like, wow, it was like light shining on it. It was just beautiful. Everybody loved it. There was no problem. Everybody respected. They put the toilet seat down. They wiped up after themselves. We made clear standards on how the bathroom was to be used. And I said, this is the way I want every work area, whether it be in your office or where you're building, a laser jam or a best fence, whatever. Everything should be laid out sequentially and thoughtfully with visual controls, with clear processes in your work area, in your office, or in the bathroom. So we set our bathroom as the example. And the reason why that was important, Josh, is because everybody visited the bathroom 4 or 5 times a day. And there is not a person on this planet that likes to walk into a dirty bathroom or a bathroom that's kind of, But when you walk into a bathroom that's beautiful, that's clean, that people have respected, that sets a whole different tone for the company. And that tone translated to all the work areas. So anytime I ever visited a work area, I just said, does your place look like the bathroom? No. Well, what's the problem? There's not visual controls. Okay, let's work on the visual controls. There's not clear processes. Let's work on the clear processes. You have stuff in here that you don't need, that you should get rid of. Let's sort those out of there. And so the bathroom became the example, the learning laboratory of what lean was supposed to look like. That's why I say lean starts in the bathroom.
That's keeping it very simple and something that everyone can relate to. And you mentioned visual
Absolutely.
Controls as well. Our brains are technical beasts, aren't they? And they're designed to solve problems. So if we make every task, every process as visually defined as possible, taking the guesswork out of it, it's going to go a long way to on our lean journey. The next
Absolutely.
The next slide we've got here, Paul, is how does continuous improvement or the lean journey benefit every employee? How can we, as an employee now, so my boss comes home from Japan and he's talking about lean and he wants me to get on this journey. How can it improve my life?
Well, one of my favorite words, Josh, is called felicity. You guys should look it up. It means to have like extreme happiness. And it turns out that what every human being wants in life, there's really just a few things every human being wants in life. Psychologists have figured this out. I figured it out by observing my own self and other people, and that is to matter. I want to know that the things that I do every day help other people or matter to other people, that people think, hey, my ideas are good. Well, lean is all about delivering a constant stream of ideas to the workplace and to the organization that help people. And when you have a leader that says, your ideas matter, I want you to show me your ideas. Even if they don't work, I don't care. Let's work on them, develop them, and improve them. All of a sudden, the team member, the employee looks and says, wow, my boss actually cares about what I think. They matter. And so there is no better vehicle in the world to deliver the idea that people matter than lean, because you're basically saying, stop your work for a moment, see what you can improve. I'm curious what your mind thinks about this. I don't want to give you all the answers. Tell me what you think. This is genius. So it gives people happiness, because this is what matters to people, is that they matter.
Spot on. And as a leader of a small team, nothing gives you more joy than seeing people grow in their role. And we don't have the hands-on feel of what goes on in their role exactly, so we can't push down. What I love about that story is how employees come to you with improvement ideas, and as you say, that makes them more valuable as a person, and then also to the organization.
And as a result, if they feel good about themselves, they're going to be more engaged. They're going to work with more energy. They're going to work with, I call it emotional energy. Don't you want your people walking in like really happy, like, wow, I want to work because this is engaging, as opposed to dragging their feet, kind of saying, oh, this is a boring job. I can't wait till this is over with. This is crazy. My boss is an idiot. I mean, emotional energy. I mean, that's fantastic.
And I guess on the flip side, as a leader, if ideas are presented, it's only right that we thrash them out, don't we? And test them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Now, Paul, you did have some videos I think you wanted to share, so please let me know if you wanted to jump in and do any of that.
Absolutely. So let's share a couple of videos just to kind of give you an idea. Okay, and it says, you're going to let me, Josh. Let me see. Here we go. Host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay, let me fix that up for you.
Enable that. No problem. You tell me when.
Just try that now, Paul.
Okay. Oh, yep, it worked. How about that? Isn't that awesome? So whiteboard keynote, there it is. So I'm going to optimize and share sound. Okay. So everyone, we're going to show you a couple slides just to give you an idea how these 2-second lean thinkers think. So we give you some real world example. We're not just talking theoretically about this. So this first one is Anthony. And the nice thing about Anthony is I think the word would be he's a bloke from Australia. Okay. And let me see why I'm not getting this right there. And now I'm going to reduce my screen down to get rid of that black out of there for you. And I'll put that up in the corner there. So this is Anthony, everyone. And Anthony is a senior executive in a large company in China, but he's actually Australia. They build window blind systems that go between glass. They ship them all over the world. And he led a 2-second lean transformation in China with thousands and thousands of employees. And this is the way Anthony thinks. So here we go. Why is it not playing? There we go.
Hey everyone, do 2-second improvements really matter? Watch Anthony, a top leader in a company in China, show you just how he stopped the struggle.
Often we go down the market, we come back, I got one hand full of stuff, keys are in one hand, and I got the lock here, and I don't know which way to hold the key, and I'm going to just put a little mark on this lock later on, and you'll see that I don't know if the lock goes in either way, so I'm going to improve that. So there's a mark there on one side, a mark there on the other side, that's pointing to the key end, and so when I approach with these, I know which way to put the keys in, and I can do it all with one hand. And there you go. I'm going to save literally 2 seconds. Hopefully this serves as an example for the rest of the team. The really small stuff counts. So Ono says improve on what has been improved for further improvement. So with that in mind, I took yesterday's key, put a little identifying pink dot on there. All I have to do is put the dot on the right side.
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing for a second here. So Josh, can you see me okay?
Gotcha, Paul, yeah.
Okay, so as you see, this was a very simple improvement. And when we talked about this word felicity, well, how do you think Anthony feels every day when he walks up to his gate now, as opposed to a week ago before that improvement? When you walk up to the gate, you got this anxiety. And now he walks up and he's like pure joy. It's like, wow, this is bitchin', it works perfect, right? And you saw multiple improvements to get to the point. Well, imagine if every process that you guys perform every day had that level of emotional energy attached to it because it was that much easier. I'll give you a great example. There's a company in Salt Lake City. We just did a virtual tour with a big construction company, about a $3 billion company, Sunrock Construction. And they had an estimating department. They had like 10 guys in the estimating department, and they were taking 2 weeks to get an estimate out, about a $1 to $2 million job estimate, take 2 weeks. And they all got together and they said, this is nonsense. Nobody likes doing this. It's a nightmare. They got their heads together, worked on it for about 3 months. You know how long a $2 million bid takes them to do now? 15 minutes. 15 minutes. 2 weeks or 15 minutes. Kind of reminds me of the fact of the Japanese coming in and taking my process from 45 minutes to 5 minutes. This is what happens. This gives you more time, more joy, more emotional energy to invest in new creative ideas for your companies. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And I could show you video after video of companies around the world that are doing that.
I've just put up this this picture here, Paul, because we're probably talking to some employees or in the crowd here today, and there might be some questions. Where do I start? And you always talk about the 8 deadly sins of waste. I don't know if you could just do a quick run through of these are good triggers. Yeah, how to identify what waste could be in my role.
Okay, so let's look at the first one, overproduction. Okay, so let's look at that box. It's got 10 bands of strapping either direction. It's got 13 labels on it, next to air labels. That's not necessary, but I'm going to tell you something. That's done to be an extreme example to kind of set the point. That is happening everywhere in your company. You are over processing, overproduction, so many things, it's unbelievable. So that's one. It's happening everywhere. Whether you're putting 2 staples in when you need 1 staple, whether or not you're attaching 4 sticky notes when you really need 1, whether or not you even need a sticky note. And if you just fixed the problem so you didn't even need a sticky note. The overproduction is happening everywhere. Then there's transportation. You're moving things everywhere. Let me tell you, there is no value. The minute things are moving, there is no value. The only time you're changing anything, you're adding value for your customer, is when you're changing something. So let me give you an example. If I'm, this is a funny example, but it happened in Japan with a big company that I brought to Japan. They took a pair of chopsticks and they were eating food and they said, no value, no value. As they were picking the chopsticks up, the chopsticks were coming up their mouth, no value, no value, no value. And right when the food touched their tongue, value. And then take the chopsticks go down, no value, no value. All this transportation and motion, there is no value. And this is happening everywhere, whether or not you're stamping steel, whether or not you're processing paperwork. There is so much transportation involved in everything we do. It's just ridiculous. And then you have excess inventory. This was my biggest problem in my company when the Japanese first came in there, is I had mountains and mountains of inventory. And then my customers ordered something. They said, well, I don't want what you have in stock. So I had to take that inventory out and I had to overprocess it. I had to change it. I had to rework it, or it got damaged because a forklift hit it. So I was just excess inventory. I was overproducing everything. And then the defects, their defects are mind-boggling. I mean, the amount of rework that has to be done because of defects is staggering. Now I could go into great depth on every one of these. And there's overprocessing. When you perform a process to a process that's already been done because you did something wrong. So you're processing again and again and again. You see this with emails. Someone sends an email. You got an email thread that's like 5, 6, 7 email threads long. Why couldn't the information been communicated the very first time? But people are very comfortable with going back and forth with email after email after email after email, and then wasted motion. The amount of motion that we're wasting, and we walk 5 steps to go to the copy machine. Why isn't the copy machine right next to your desk? Why is the stapler, why is your pencils in your drawer and you have to shuffle through 10 pencils to find the pen that you want? Why isn't the pen that you use all the time right on your desk, put into Kaizen foam or somewhere where you can just grab it and go instead of dig and waste motion digging for it? And then meanwhile, you're waiting for the estimate for the customer, and the customer's waiting for an estimate from you, and the customer's waiting because you're digging for your pencil, you're fixing a defect, you're counting inventory that you really didn't need to produce, you're transporting things throughout your factory, you're over processing, putting more scrap out, and your customer's waiting. And while all your team members are producing all these defects, this over process, this excess inventory, you're wasting their potential as human beings, as problem solvers. So instead of investing all their time in fixing a problem solution and improving processes, they're caught up in this tornado of waste. It's just staggering. These are the 8 wastes. And when I realized that's what Toyota was doing, all they were doing is they taught their people to see these wastes, and their people went after them with a vengeance. And it was a big game.
Love it. And I like that story at the start, Paul, about the chopstick, because it's about adding value, isn't it? Is everything I'm doing adding value to what my customer sees or feels? So that's probably a good test for each of us. We'll jump back now to the main slide deck, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll just get back on track with this. So the next The next one we had here was, okay, we talked about how it helps employees grow, how it helps me grow, you grow. But what about how does it impact the client? What does the client get out of it? What value do they see in us becoming more lean?
Yeah, well, one of the most beautiful things is, at FastCap, I like to brag about the fact that we're a $40 million company, we're a decent sized company, and we don't have an HR department, we don't have a marketing department, we don't have a sales department, we don't have a maintenance department, we don't have a janitorial department. We have none of these things because we don't have all the stupid overhead that everybody else has, because we don't need any of it, because our customers love us so much. They just keep coming back to us and they tell all their other customers. So we don't need a marketing department. We don't need a sales department. We have zero. We have 6 people running a $40 million company in our office. 6 people. Because our customers love us so much. So the benefit to the customer is they've got a company that's extraordinary that they get to deal with, that delivers quality and service at a level they've never experienced. So they don't even want to look anywhere else. The most common question I get is, what about, do you have competition? I said, would you want to compete with me? Do you want to figure out how to develop a company where your people are going to deliver millions of improvements? It's exhausting. Nobody wants to compete with me, but my customers love me and they love doing business with me. And they have we control the prices. Before this whole supply chain problem happened and the whole 9 yards with what's going on in the world, the chaos that's in the world these days, in 20 years, we had 3 price increases. Do you think our customers loved us? Our customers were ecstatic about us. Anybody can contact me anytime. My phone number's on the website. Total accessibility. Customers love dealing with lean companies because they deliver more value and all the BS is flushed down the toilet.
Nothing's worse than buying from someone where you know that you're paying for waste, is there? Whether it be the takeaway or your local general store,
It's crazy, isn't it? Because you're paying for it. But with us, they go, oh my gosh, the value just keeps coming.
So those on the call today, do yourself a favor and jump on Paul's website, because he's got tons of videos from implementing, basic stuff in the office to the processes in the workshop to the production. It's very inspirational. The next point here we've got, Paul, is I know you're passionate about this one too, a clean workspace. Is this the key to success?
It really is really important. I would like to show a video on that. We can do an office video real quick.
Okay,
So it'd be really cool to just see what an office looks like when it's clean and well thought out and processes are really over the top. So
too easy. I'll just stop sharing here. Yep. Okay. All yours, Paul.
Okay. So I need to get to that one right there. Everything's optimized. Away we go. So this is really cool. This is in Ireland. And this is really fun. This is Lean in the Office, and this is Seating Matters, and they are over the top. And you can kind of see how organized their office is and how innovative their office is compared to most offices you've ever seen before.
Hello, it's Ryan Tierney from Seating Matters here, and I'd like to show you today how we do Lean in our office. So this was the before photograph of how we used to organise our office. So as you can see, it's not very tidy, it's not very lean. So what we did, we changed the whole thing around to make it all stand up. That was the first thing we done. So we've made everything visual. So this is all the orders waiting on quotes, orders waiting on information, and orders waiting on payment. So it's very, very visual. It's easy to see what orders are at each step. So this workstation processes all the orders for the factory. So the first thing is you print off the order at this stage. We got these automatic
Please
staplers.
notice how they've eliminated all the wasted motion and transportation. You see what's going on there? Look where the printer is, look where the copier is, look where the stapler is, look where the pen is. Very important.
Stapling the orders, it makes it very easy to staple. The next thing is we got different trays on our printers. So each tray has a different color of paper for the orders for that week. Next thing is the order is processed. So it's very, very visual. You can see how many orders are at each step. Moving on around then is where the labels are done for the orders. Again, with another automatic stapler. This is where the labels are printed. The next step then is checking the orders. So it's checked by the production manager. Then the chair goes to the factory and comes back in, and it gets dispatched and invoiced at this station. So every station is for a particular job, so there's no confusion on what is done at which. So as you can see, it's just one piece flow. We've got a U-shaped cell. We process one order at a time. If it's quite busy, as it is sometimes on Friday evenings, we can add in other people to help out. So this is showing an order being processed by one person. Now we're going to see where someone else jumps in to help. This is quite common, especially in busy periods. So now we've got 2 people working the same cell. And if it gets busier again, we can have 3 people working the same cell. So the other thing is that there's no separation between the office and the factory. There's no doors, there's no walls. It's very easy for information flow. And I hope you enjoyed the quick tour of our lean office.
Okay, so pretty cool stuff. And the level of innovation in terms of how you run your processes and then how clean you keep everything is just so critical. It's just having a clean workplace is really important. And lean delivers that. As you improve your processes, it's inevitable that it's going to be clean and tidy. And that just makes for happy people, because nobody likes to dig for stuff. I mean, maybe some people, but they're crazy as far as I'm concerned.
I know there's a lot of wheels on the desk there, Paul. I know you're pretty passionate about wheels and things moving like that.
Yeah, everything in our factory and most lean companies, as you see, they're going to be on wheels. And the reason we do that is because we want flexibility. So I will explain. The minute you build something in, it's very difficult to move it or to change. And what lean is all about is continuous improvement or continuous change. So if we have things on wheels, we accomplish 2 goals. When we need to clean something, it's obviously very easy. You roll it out of the way, clean it, roll it back. But the second and most important thing, as we realize the way we've set something up is really not ideal, or they need to expand that cell. Let's say they needed to open that cell up and add another station to it. They just simply roll them apart, insert another cell, insert another person, or the opposite, shrink it down, make it smaller, and redeploy that desk system somewhere else. But the wheels allow for easy change, easy improvement.
I've got a question here from Ben. I think you know Ben, Paul. He says, is the lean office video on YouTube? Is that lean office video you just shared available online?
Oh yeah. Oh, the one that I just showed you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ripper.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. Ben should be able to find that one.
Yeah, you just type in Paul Akers into YouTube or Google, and then type in whatever subject you want: lean office, lean at home, one piece flow. You can, I mean, it's just endless. And my website, thousands and thousands of videos, and they're categorized really nicely on my website. You'll see if you click on the video tab, and then you click on lean videos, you'll see everything laid out there. It's really, really simple.
I've got a couple more questions coming here, Paul, if it's okay. Jonathan's asked, how do we get started on the lean? Actually, it's probably going to relate to this slide, actually. Here we go. Where do I start? How do we get started on the lean journey, particularly with factory employees that may lack initiative? How do we stimulate their ideas and get their buy-in to action lean methods?
Okay. So first of all, Josh, it's a great question. And this is what I'm going to tell you. And I want you to take notes on this because it's very important. Number one is I want you to watch a video by Alex Ramirez. And I think I can type that to you, Josh, and you can post it right now. I'm going to type it to you on WhatsApp. Is that okay?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, let's see here. I'm going to do everything just in time. I'm not going to wait. I'm looking. There's Josh right there. And then I have a text expander. Watch this. It's so cool what I'm going to do here. I do a text expander and I go ALEX and boom, sent, and you've got it. And then you can post that on the chat. So Alex Ramirez is in the oil and gas industry, and he created the greatest 2-second lean transformation anywhere in the world. He had about a $3 billion company, tens of thousands of people involved in 4 continents. And Alex Ramirez is a close friend of mine. He's just an awesome guy. And I interviewed him about 6 months to a year ago, and I asked him to explain, how do we get started? And he basically took what I did in my book, but he tweaked it a little, and he did a phenomenal job. And I want you to watch that video and see what Alex did, because it will address every question you have. It was Jonathan asked the question, Josh? Was it Jonathan?
That's right. Yeah, Jonathan, that's right.
Yeah, Jonathan, it will answer every question you have in great detail, but I'll give you the answer right now. Number one is you need to get my book. It's all free. I don't want any money. I don't want anything for it. You can download it you can listen to it right now on YouTube. You can download my app, which we're going to tell you at the end of the thing, and you can have everybody listen to it for free, period. So you need to get people to start listening to it. But the most important thing is you get your leadership team. You should gather together your top 5, 6, 7 people, and you should start listening to one page or read one page or one chapter a day and discuss it as a leadership team. And then all of you should get good at implementing lean. And once you understand how to implement lean, then you should roll it out to the shop floor. But you should not roll it out to the shop floor until you understand what's going on and the leadership team understand. But that would be a general outline to start with in a large company. If it's not a large company, there's only 2 or 3 of you, you should start reading my book and start 3S'ing every day for 5 minutes, sweeping, sorting, standardizing, get rid of all the crap in your area, clean a little bit every day, create one improvement, have a short meeting, talk about your problems, and then go to work. That's the basic essence of what I tell you in my book. But all the little details, Alex lays it out and my book lays it out. But it's not complicated.
I'll share those links. I'm going to send you an email after this session, Paul, to all the people that join, so they'll get a list of all those video links. I just can't add it into the chat at the moment, so it must be too much text, I think. I've got another question here from Jim. He says, I used to love Paul blowing up in the bottom corner of this website. Where has this automation gone?
I know. Where has that gone? I had forgot about that. That was so long ago. I don't know. I think my graphics people must have taken it off. That's all I could say. I'll have to ask them where that is. That is funny. I haven't seen that video forever.
I've got a few more rolling in here, Paul, so hopefully we've got a few minutes just to cover these off. Ben's got another good question. Can Paul tell us how to start on the lean health journey? This is another one of your publications, is Lean Health. What can you say as to that?
Well, I'm 62 years old, and I athletically am as engaged as an 18-year-old who's in good shape, because a lot of 18-year-olds are not in good shape. So the key to lean health, again, is so simple, it is unbelievable. You ready? Stop eating sugar. That is it. Sugar is in everything. They put it in most packaged things. I eat tons of fruits and vegetables. I eat mangoes every day, and apples and oranges and bananas. I'm not talking about sugar that's found naturally in fruit, because you're getting the whole fruit, all the vitamins, but the sugar that's in sugar drinks and dressings and in cereals and, oh my gosh, and pastas, and they put sugar in everything. So if you just want to just get healthy, like really, really fast, just stop eating sugar. It's that simple. If you want to, and the way you remember that is you eat plants, don't eat things made in a plant. Now, I'm not a vegetarian. I eat fish, chicken, meat, steak. I eat everything. I eat primarily fish, but I eat plants. I don't eat things made in a plant. So if you're opening a package, 9 times out of 10, there's some shit in there that you don't want to be eating. Excuse me. I don't know how else to put it. Okay.
Hopefully that helps, Ben. Another question here from Jim, if it's all right, Paul. And I think this relates to what we spoke about earlier about the employee coming to their leader with an idea. I feel my managers don't see the value in implementing lean and improving processes. How can I start improving for the benefit of the whole company if I feel I don't have the buy-in of the company's owners?
That's a great question, and it's a question I often get. Who asked the question one more time, Josh?
That's Jim from Adelaide.
Jim, okay. Jim, I love it. I've been to Adelaide too. That's awesome. So here's the secret to lean. You, Jim, have enough waste in your life for 10 lifetimes, and so does Paul Akers, and so does Josh, and so does Ben, and so does all of us. We are just waste tornadoes. And so we oftentimes, I know this was my problem as well, Jim, is I got caught up in wondering why that person's not doing lean, and why they're not doing lean, and why don't they support me doing lean, and why isn't that doing lean? And then I realized, the hell with all of them. I got problems. Just work on yourself. Forget about everybody else. It doesn't matter, because let me explain to you what will happen. this is the most beautiful story I'm going to tell you right now. When you become good at deploying lean and creating great processes for all the work that you're responsible for and all the work and all in your sphere of influence, you will automatically be elevated. And you will probably be elevated to the top position in the company in short order. I'm going to give you 2 examples that just recently happened. I told you about Alex Ramirez. I gave you the video link. You guys will be able to watch it. Alex was a plant manager at Tubeloy, Valorec Tubeloy, oil and gas industry, build steel pipes for the oil industry. He took his factory and deployed 2-second lean. And it was so outrageous, the results, that from 4 continents, leaders were coming to find out what he was doing. They put him, within 6 months of doing this, they put him in charge of global operations for deployment of lean for the entire organization, a $3 billion company, tens of thousands of employees. Today, tens of thousands of people at Tubeloy Valorec have been deploying 2-second lean. Just in Brazil alone, over 10,000 employees. And he was running a small plant in Houston, Texas. That's the first example. The next one is Thomas Reiner. Thomas Reiner works for a company in Virginia that makes nuclear reactors for the submarines that the US puts in their submarines and their aircraft carriers. He's an engineer. He saw some of my videos. He's actually a farmer on the side. He has a small little farm, but he's a nuclear engineer. And he started deploying lean, 2-second lean, in his area of influence, his small little cell that he's responsible for 3 or 4 engineers. The results were so incredible that within the course of like 2 years, Thomas just sent me a message. He is 1 level under the president of the company. This is what happens when people pay attention to their own waste. Forget about everybody else's waste. Just deal with your own waste. We got enough for 10 lifetimes.
I love it. We had an example in our kitchen the other day, Paul. Our refrigerator was a bit disorganized, so we've started.
Did I lose you?
You got us there, Paul?
Josh?
You got me, Paul?
Yeah, I got you. I lost you. I hit Siri by mistake on my AirPods. Say it one more time.
We had an example the other day in our house in the kitchen. Our refrigerator was a bit disorganized, and I sat down and we said, look, let's put some clear labels up and, where things go. So now we've got a condiment section, the sauces, and hopefully they're not too sugary. Some dressings, where it all goes. It makes it so much easier. So I know it's massive and massive difference. So that's what you want to see.
That's exactly right. And Tom Hughes in Ireland has developed the greatest lean refrigerator I've ever seen in my life. I think he has a video online. If he doesn't, I will ask him. I can even ask him, watch how, this is lean thinking right here. Okay, watch what I'm gonna do. I'm contacting Ireland right now. Tom Hughes, right there. Watch this. Hey, Tom, I need a video on your lean refrigerator because I'm speaking to Australia right now. Could you get it for me so I can show him what you've done? Okay, so he's gonna reply back to me. And I'll get the video and I'll show it to you. And when you see his lean refrigerator, your eyeballs are going to pop out of your head. It's so incredible. So I love what you're talking about, Josh.
It sounds like we've got some homework to do over the weekend.
Yeah.
I think I've gone through all the questions here, Paul, that we have got. So I appreciate those that have come through. And as I promised at the start, we're going to reward some lucky attendees with a bit of merch. One they'll get a SteelTalk, We Get Shed Done shirt and maybe a 6-pack. So I want to give a shout out to Mike from John Holland. Great to have on the call, Mike. And I've got a new name here. I think Tarek, Jose, maybe. If we'll reach out to you guys after the call to get a little package on the way to you after this event. But Paul, it's been a massive privilege of ours to have you on the call. Have we missed anything? I know you want to share the refrigerator video, but that might not come through in time. We have gone over time today. Is there anything else you wanted to, as a lean maniac, have a bit of a rant about before we close out this call?
You ready? Have fun, because this is the most enjoyable journey you'll ever go on.
Ripper. And as Paul mentioned, he's not about taking dollars from you. He wants you to grow as a person and give back. So he has got a 2-second lean play app available on the Android on the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store as well. So do yourself a favor and download those. I think there's a good half a dozen books there, Paul, in all different languages. Is that right?
Right, that's correct. In 9 different languages. My books are all there. Everything's free. It's just like the Audible app, but it's better. And it even has a live chat. You can actually you can push the button and ask me a question or type a message to me. It goes right to my phone and I'll answer it on the app.
Couldn't be easier. So that sums up, I guess, episode 4. Paul, once again, appreciate you giving up some time out of your holiday on a late evening over there. And look forward to catching up again soon. And for those that are on the call, next episode next month, we'll release the dates and the guest speaker shortly. But it'll be a privilege to have you with us again as we continue our learning journey.
Josh, you did a great job. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks, everyone, and we'll catch up very soon.